Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host, a very good friend, is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to all listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality Cast, where we are tackling Bachelorette Season 17, Episode 2. Now, Chris, it's been a long week, or a short week, actually. We're back again. Where do you want to start today?
Well, Dave, we sort of pick up from last week, and Katie rounds up the troops, Dave, with Tasha and Caitlin, and he's taken to see her, and I'm going to put this in quotes, Dave, because I think it's a load of bullshit. Her very good friend, who is a sex, educator and that podcaster. One of my closest friends. I thought, what, you've just met her 5 minutes before you come on, have you, Katie? It was so fucking fake, that bit, Dave.
You know what, Chris? I am gonna. We'll go back through the major highlights and stuff and talking points, I'm sure. But I'm gonna put my cards right down on the table. All the way through Matt's season, I thought Katie seemed like the most normal person out of this, and thought, well, it seems a bit normal to actually be on The Bachelorette. I'm not actually buying it anymore. I think she's a bit too smooth. I think she's, a bit too good at just playing up for the cameras and where it's necessary. She's doing all the right things for the producers. And yeah, actually, from tonight's episode, I'm just not sure I'm buying it.
Dave, I know you haven't read my notes, but I am not happy about this because I had a little notes on my phone as I'm watching it, and I'm like, right, I'm not making up, right, I'm making notes. And the first thing I put was, and I haven't put it in my normal notes, is Katie and this girl have never met each other. Her name is something McDonald. You've never seen each other ever. The blink in the body language is like, okay, let's just play it up for the cameras. It's a bit of acting. And honestly, I'm with you. I'm not just saying that to agree with you. I know it's better sometimes when we disagree, but I completely agree. She has basically done a number on us because, I always think I'm quite good at my actual bullshit reality TV radar is usually pretty, not always right, I know, but it's usually pretty good when it comes to reality TV because I've watched so much of it. And I was convinced Katie was the one, and I said it, the way she got pulled from that season, and I know on broken record, was bullshit. And this now for me is, look, all she has to do is The Bachelorette, let's be honest, is do everything the opposite of what Claire did, Dave, at the start of the last season. I know Tasha took over and she was okay in that, she was a good girl, but Claire was just a nightmare. Once you great TV, but just a nightmare. Just broke every rule you can think of to get with what's he called? Dale.
How can you forget Dale?
Dave, I've tried to forget him for the last fucking 4 months, whatever it is. We've had enough of them two. Well, 6 months, where it is. But she's basically gone in and done everything that thing. And there is a couple of things I want to call out later on. But I honestly, mate, I think you've absolutely nailed it there. I'd love to know what people think because I think she's so fucking preened and drilled on what to say and what to do. I wouldn't be surprised if she's an absolute nightmare off camera, Dave, and she's making him do reshoots all night or something. There's something off, and I completely agree with you.
Yeah, well, I think I'm sure we'll touch on that again, but I mean, we start off, don't we, with the date card just magically turning up. Yeah. You notice that? Normally that's CH's job, but it just kind of turns up there, and you've got Karl, and I'll share with you my notes, Chris. It says, Karl, in brackets, motivational speaker, declares it's going to be the Hunger Games and tells everyone, ask not what the Bachelorette can do for you. Ask what you can do for the Bachelorette. And I've just put, in brackets, what a prick.
well, hang on. I'll let you carry on. My first line is, Karl is a grade A fucking dick, Dave. That's what I've put, so carry on anyway. Dave, he couldn't motivate the fucking top of the Premiership fucking team who were 20 points clear, that fucker. He's never motivated anybody. What? Oh, you know what? There was a couple of things in this episode, and I know it goes off slightly later on, but fucking Karl, for me, what an absolute dick. He makes Yosef from the last series looked like fucking a good guy. Honestly, by the end of this episode, I was literally throwing me fucking my toys at the teddy. I'm like, get off, you're a fucking dick. But yeah, anyway, carry on.
You know what? And we'll tackle it when we get to the end. By the end, I was almost coming round to him because he was so bad and such a prick. I was like, how can you have such a massive lack of self-awareness? But it was good entertainment. I think we like characters like that. You know, it just makes things interesting, doesn't it? But I mean, when they get to the group date, like say before they meet very good friend of Katie, yeah, right. You know, they sort of hint at different things. You know, you see you've got a vibrator there, you've got the fluffy handcuffs, you've got the bed and everything. And you can see straight away that Mikey, you know, the 31-year-old virgin is really not happy about it. And actually, you know, it kept cutting away to him, didn't it? And I just kept thinking, you bunch of fuckers. Katie has not made that decision to bring him on that date. You've intentionally put him in the worst case scenario where, you know, he's got this thing about him, you know, and good luck to him. That's how he chooses to lead his life. But the producers are like, right, we'll get him on this fucking date, right? It's going to be classic. It's going to be gold. And I was actually getting quite annoyed about it because he was getting quite teary about it. And I was like, oh, you motherfuckers. I mean, I don't know if you saw it that way, but I was getting quite annoyed at the producers at that point.
Yes, the whole thing was set up for Mike to reveal, I am a virgin, Dave. You know, like we're going to get an episode on the guy who's got addiction problems as well, aren't we? Something's going to happen where he's going to be put in a situation where he's going to have to tell Katie, this is The Bachelor 101. And we're almost watching an episode of fucking The X Factor or America's Got Talent or something with the sob story. But my initial thought was, Mike, have you ever watched this show before? Do you not realise that the producers are going to manipulate your story straight away? And I did feel sorry for him, Dave, but I also, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, is this really true? Because that speech was fucking good, you know, and I hold my hands up. He deserved to win it because, to be honest, Trey did a fucking puppet show. Connor was quite good with his singing and piano about how he's good with his fingers, Dave.
And I tell you what, I don't know how long they had to prepare or whether he's come with it pre-prepared, but those lyrics were pretty good. All the suggestive stuff and the double entendres, I just thought it was, I was like, hats off.
Yeah, and I agree. I sort of laughed at that. But I tell you who wasn't good, Dave, in the fucking talent show? Good old Mr. Motivator Karl. Let's come up with 5 things to find the right lover. And Justin sat there going, no, let's not fucking Karl. And it was the most cringeworthy. Oh, Dave, I was watching it and I had not said a word really about Karl before that. He got a bit annoyed in the last episode at one point, and that was a bit of a radar come on then going, oh, hang on a minute. He's got a bit of spice behind him. But this was the start of his downfall for me. And I'm thinking, there's no way you're a motivational speaker. It's fucking awful. And Justin just cut him off complete. Everyone was sort of like cringing in the room. All the guys were like, oh, he's gone there. So when Mike come on, it just seemed like he'd had hours to prepare this speech, Dave, with a bit of help. I'm not saying that I didn't deserve it because the guy was a complete emotional wreck. And all the questions about sex earlier on, and that was like, no, oh man, a mystery. And it's like, you've really put this guy, and I agree with you, they threw him under the bus, really, to sort of do it. So I'm glad that he won, and I honestly, I was smiling when he got that award. Whether it is a bit of bullshit on both sides, I don't know. I will be honest with you, Dave, the way these shows go, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a fucking story out there already that he's actually bullshitting and he isn't a virgin. You know what I mean? And I know he's cynical. Yeah, he's a gigolo. He's not been a virgin since he was about 15 or something. But it just, I don't know, the cynic in me and these shows, the way they play up to it is, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some Instagram fucking story out there, Dave. But it might be complete bullshit, but it is the way these things go. It really is.
I think a healthy dose of cynicism is required for this show, isn't it? You know, just the way they try and fucking gaslight us. But Chris, I mean, we raced over some of the questions that were coming up there. Yeah. I don't know, did you pick up on any of those? You know, what's the female's largest sex organ?
The
how would you
brain.
fared in this quiz? Yeah, the brain. Now, there is a bit of a conspiracy theory on this, and thanks to Lauren who's pointed out the kind of Reddit thread on this. But basically, you had Karl, so our favourite motivational speaker, right? He held up on his card vagina.
Yeah.
He goes straight there. And but then when you get to Courtney, he raises up his pad, and it's got hold on, let me bring it up here. He's got something blanked out. It says something like, oh, and then it's blanked out. It's like it's tip X'd out, and then so the blank, especially if she's on steroids.
What? Now listen to me, Dave. Listen to me. Now this is nothing to do with my search history at all. But when a lady,
I told you about a butt sandwich.
A butt sandwich. Yes.
Ignore everything before the butt. So go ahead.
It's probably true. But when a lady, allegedly, from what I've heard, takes steroids, Dave, their lady parts do grow. So maybe that's what he's talking about.
Right.
But they have said vagina, so I don't understand that. Unless he said something a bit more cruder, I'm not sure. And just for research purposes, I will not be researching that later of anybody who's listening, Dave. I'm just telling you what I've heard.
Well, fortunately, there is another podcaster on this call who did go searching for this. I had
What's
no
that shoulder,
idea.
Dave?
I was literally clueless. I did not know, but you're absolutely right. Apparently, if a girl takes steroids, apparently one of the things that can happen is the clitoris grows. Had no idea about this.
Fuck me, Dave. I told us took steroids years ago if I known it and make the men parts grow. It doesn't.
That's why it doesn't make sense, does it? Because we were all told, well, yeah, if you take steroids, your dick gets smaller.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking, was that just a ruse? Was that just to steer you away from steroids?
Don't know
Does
where
it
to
actually
roll.
make it bigger? I think you're saying too old now, but I mean, I can't afford to gamble, to be honest, Chris. I can't afford to lose any.
No, I can't. Like a half-price sale, Dave.
But isn't it weird that The Bachelor, they're quite happy for Karl to show, he's written down vagina, but they've censored clitoris.
Yeah, strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really strange. It is strange. I mean, when they've done the whole thing, and obviously Mike wins and that, and Connor then takes her on a date, doesn't he? And he gives the old classic line, "Let's redo our kiss." And it's it's a bit intense, and I've written down, it smells like horse shit to me, this whole dialogue. But it is what it is. And then I love the fact.
Do you not think he's like? Sorry, I had to cut you across you there. I thought you were going to move on, but
No.
do you not think he's got two speeds? It's like on or off. He's either like talking or something. It's like, oh, let's kiss. It's like fucking alien face hugger. He's straight in there. I personally, I think that's a little bit too much, bit over the top.
Well, I think you go from one extreme to the other because Karl, and I've put, is a true bellend, which you've had an email about from some of our American listeners. Like they've actually gone on Google talking about search histories and tried to know what bellend means, Dave. We've even asked that on our other podcasts, haven't we, as well? Because people are like, what does that mean? I even had someone ask me on YouTube on me, tell what's a bellend? And it's just like, right, well, it means this, It's a norm.
Search history.
Yeah, exactly. It's a northern thing, isn't it? It's a northern. We all call everyone calls it each other in Manchester, pretty much.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not sure everyone does.
Everyone I know
if you come
does.
across, you're just visiting. Don't say, all right, bellend.
Don't say that.
It's like...
You'll get a punch in the mouth. Don't say that. Yeah. There's context to it, Dave. There's context to it. But no, she goes on the date with Karl, and he's like... He gives her that present and he just gets a hug. And at that point, Katie turns her face. I thought, he's not going anywhere, this guy. He's going to get voted off pretty soon because he's the only one who she's been on a date with and not really reciprocated it, Dave, because she went with Thomas the next. I mean, the one with Thomas was like some out of a film. The next kiss she did, it was fucking she was straight in there.
I'll come back onto Thomas in a sec, but Karl, I do kind of hope he sticks around because I am finding him quite funny, even though he's such a massive bellend. The way he's talking to her, and he's got the one handcuff. He's got like these purple handcuffs on, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And the way he speaks to her is like he's giving a halftime team talk to her. It's like, right, the defense has been good this first half, and then, we just need to get the ball to, our star wing back or whatever. He just sounds like he's giving a team talk, and he gets the one handcuff on, and then Thomas comes and interrupts him, and he's like, oh, well, I guess that's me. Whereas other people, like, in that situation, they've said, like, well, no, can you give us a couple of minutes? I'm like halfway handcuffed up here. He just walks off, doesn't he? And she is not interested in him one bit, not even 1%. Which is, again, another reason why I kind of want him to stick around for a bit longer. Yeah,
I agree with that, because when people like him leave, the show does take a dip, doesn't it? Or they try and create another villain out of the guys. I mean, I'm sure there is other villains there, but what's interesting is Katie picks Greg, and they were saying about Mike and the producers, if you ever known a date more producer-led, Dave, they must say to these guys, look, what is your worst and most emotional time in your life? So Greg's gone, I lost my dad 2 years ago to cancer, which is not anything to, it's an awful thing. The poor guy's lost his dad. Katie's lost her dad. What was the things you did? We went fishing. Let's send them fishing then. I've got to be honest with you, Dave. The moral compass at times of these fucking producers, I don't think they've got any. I don't think they've got anything. It makes for great TV, but that's a hell of a reach to do that. They knew exactly what they were doing, and it pulls on your heartstrings then, doesn't it? Because it is real life.
Well, all I'll say, Chris, and I'll try and not mention him every episode, but it's kind of difficult not to. But the figures that they're talking about that Chris Harrison got paid off with? I've heard various figures ranging from about $25 million to nearly $70 million.
Oh my God.
That is apparently what he's been paid off, because he went in with a top lawyer and basically threatened them that all the dirty laundry would be aired, because he knows he's been there long enough, and it's like, oh, I'll just go to the press, I'll just air all this dirty laundry, and then you've got no franchise without me, have you?
Oh, clever.
So to pay him off with so much just makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm not saying people listening didn't buy into it, and it was an emotional journey, but I just felt this was, for me, it was a step too far, to be honest.
Well, I mean, should just round off. So Thomas and Katie did have a bit of a snog, didn't they?
Yes, Hollywood.
Got quite hot and heavy. She was sat on top of him, sat on his lap pretty much. So there is definitely a connection there with her and Thomas, and he got the rose, and Karl was pissed. He somehow thought he was in with a shot there. Again, you've got to love the self-confidence of him. But when Greg gets his, he gets the first one-on-one date, doesn't he?
Yes.
And I didn't catch who said it, but someone said, time is money and the rich just got richer. So I think the people in, the other lads in the house, they're not happy, and they can see that Greg is, he's a bit of an early front runner, isn't he? But when they go on this camping date, I mean, it's clear that he's clueless. I don't know if he's even seen a program with someone putting a tent up. So he's pretty hopeless. I'm not buying Greg's persona, though. Because Katie was talking about her dad and everything, and again, it's nothing to joke about. It's quite an emotional thing. They've spent all this time out there doing the camping, and then in the evening, they have the dinner parts of the date. So they've gone the whole day, Greg not bringing up that is, this is his dad has been lost to cancer a couple of years ago, despite the fact that Katie was there saying about how much she used to love camping, and it brings back a lot of memories for her. I just think it seems disingenuous that he's waited, that he's hung on, until the dinner date, and then actually, he's dropped it then.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
I'm just not buying it at all. And yeah, I do think it's a bit of an act.
Yeah. Also, though, to give him a little bit of slack, is it something he said and the producers have gone, hang on, this would be great fodder for let's go around a campfire and tell our stories. But I agree, if we're just taking on face value what we see as genuine, yes, I agree with you.
But also, right, so when he's talking, it's like he goes into this like nervous puppy dog. When Katie's talking, I just don't. It doesn't look like he's interested in what she's got to say.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's see where that one develops. It was also a bit worrying. She was saying about how she feels so comfortable with him. Remember on the first night, she said, "Oh, he looks like my ex-boyfriend."
Yes, she did actually. Good point. Good point, Dave.
That's why she feels comfortable with him. She's seeing her ex-boyfriend, and she discussed. I think it was with Trey, was it earlier in the episode, that her last relationship was 2 years ago, so she's had Matt's season in between now and then. So I don't know. I think Katie's brain is possibly playing tricks on her a little bit there.
You could be right, Dave. You could be right. And I think the next bit, Dave, I talk about hilarious. How funny was it when Tasha and Caitlin came in as cowgirls and woke the guys up? Laughed and nearly fell off my chair, Dave. It was fucking hilarious. And when I say hilarious, I mean it was fucking shit. What
would you sooner had Chris Harrison back, would you?
I just like, this is terrible. And the guys are like, you've just woke us up. Sorry, this is the 5th take we've done, like, guys. Can you do that again? It's just like, yeah, whatever. And this led, Dave, to the mud wrestling.
I don't know. I think they're trying to inject a bit of fun, aren't they? The last few seasons have been all about the drama and all these problematic issues with the show. So I've no problem with them trying to inject a bit of fun. But if I'm going anywhere for a bit of a laugh, it's not The Bachelorette.
But
apart from laughing at it, I like to laugh at it, Chris, not with it.
I'm sticking me mast in the sand here, though, Dave, or in the mud. We better get mud wrestling when it's The Bachelor, Dave, because I tell you what, there's certain things I'm not happy with on this, because the guys, Brendan and Hunter, straight in, they were the first two, and it didn't get violent, did it? I mean, they were the first two. Then you had Andrew and Kyle. Andrew's an American footballer, Dave. He just dealt with Kyle like he was nothing, didn't he? He just...
It was a bit of a mismatch, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, they all look good. The best one was Josh and John, though. Poor John got absolutely teabagged there.
He got a draw in the end, didn't he? But
he got a draw. But...
It did look like another mismatch there, to be fair.
Well, and I'm going to ask you this, Dave, because the whole mud wrestling thing was just, again, another setup for this Aaron and Cody thing. Now, I may have missed this, but has this been said before about them knowing each other from home? Because I don't remember us talking about it last week.
So, remember, there was it was completely not built up to at all. But Aaron said to Cody outside something like, "I don't like you, and none of that is my fault."
Yes, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so and it was like this, it stuck out like a sore thumb, because it was like, there was no build up to that. What's gone on?
Sorry, yeah.
So I think, we didn't discuss it last week, but, we thought either something's happened off camera, or it transpires tonight that, well, they actually know each other from San Diego by the looks of it.
Yeah, and look, I didn't think it was that intense, the actual wrestling match. It didn't seem any worse than anything else. It was, for the cameras, it made it look better. And they had the Katie looking concerned, like, if these guys have got a problem, I need to get to the bottom of this. And she got a detective hat on and went and got the Mystery Machine and Scooby and Shaggy out, Dave, and tried to investigate. But
I'm so glad you said that, because I've literally written down that all the music and the narration by Katie, it all implies that there's this, very angry fighting between them two. It was absolutely no fucking different from anything else we saw, Chris.
No, it wasn't.
It was just what they were saying was not what was happening on the screen.
Exactly. If one of them had done a little rabbit punch under the chin or something, Dave, or a little bit of a whack in the stomach, and it ended up in a proper like rolling round brawl, no problem. Put as much drama on it as you want, as much shock facing Katie's face and Tasha and Caitlin's face is shock. No, absolutely no problem. But I didn't see anything with it. And what I'm gonna call out, Dave, is there's two instances in this episode. Now, Aaron tells Katie to her face, he wins the actual the buckle, doesn't he? He wins the cowboy buckle from her. So he goes on a bit of a date. He then tells her about Cody, saying, I know him from home. She takes that as 100% the truth, right? And Cody, and I'm not saying she wasn't, because I think Cody's body language, and he didn't seem that fucking arse that he'd been exposed for whatever he's supposed to have done. Whether it was oh shit, the producers have found someone on social media, we need to get this guy out of there type situation, I don't know, because it seemed too slick. He wasn't arsed. Even when she was telling me, he's like, oh, I don't understand what he's trying to say. But he wasn't. Yeah. I didn't buy any of that. I think it was all fake. However, she took that as what Aaron said is genuine. Right, that's it, he's out. And I just found that so weird, that whole segment with Cody.
So I can't. So Lauren messaged us in and said, so I can't claim this saying, but snitches do not get stitches; they get roses.
Very good.
On this show, we've seen it before, though, haven't we?
Yeah.
If you go in and snitch on someone, basically the other person's fucked. Yeah. Unless someone on Claire's season snitched on Dale for something, then maybe it would backfire. But it seems like the other person hasn't got a leg to stand on. Now, I don't think he did a particularly sterling defense of himself, because it was just like, well, that's not true. And it was just like, well, whether it's true or not, you're going to say it's not true. So give us something, give us some reason why it's not true. Give us some context, maybe. Why does this person suddenly want to throw you under the bus? But I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, Chris. Did you ever watch Gavin and Stacey?
Oh, Dave, I've recently just watched it again. I love him. I've watched every episode back to front about 5 or 6 times. Honestly, I love it.
Well, there's the whole thing about what happened on the boat with Uncle Bryn.
Yeah, Bryn and Stacey's brother. Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it.
Jason, Bryn and Jason.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but the hint is that there's something like a bit sexual maybe happened. Maybe they were struggling for warmth or something. They were stranded on the boat or whatever. With these two, with Aaron and Cody, I'm thinking, what is it? Because Aaron can't come up with any specifics. Cody can't come up with any specifics. I'm thinking, something happened here. They maybe dabbled in a bit of a threesome. There were 2 parts in a threesome or something like that.
Maybe they crossed swords, Dave. I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. Honestly, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, just say. Well, because Aaron came up with absolutely fuck all. He said something about some social media post or something like that. And it's like, look, San Diego's not fucking a one-horse town. You know what I mean? For you to have come across each other, so to speak.
Maybe that was the problem, Dave. Don't look me in the eyes. Go on.
I didn't mean that. Double entendre there.
You fucking did.
To have come across each other and dislike each other so much, but not actually have a reason. It just makes me something. There's something underlying in that they just don't want to be on national TV.
But Dave doesn't, and you're right. I honestly, I'm with you completely. Especially if they don't look into each eye's things. But what I would say is, doesn't this remind you of the Mean Girls from The Bachelor? Matt's season, it's pretty similar. That girl came in, and that other blonde girl said she was a hooker, didn't she? A call girls, and an escort and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we had this whole thing, didn't we, with the reunion and that. It just seemed a bit too cute. I honestly think, playing off what we know and the way this show reacts to stuff, is that something's come to light that he's done, And they're like, shit, we need to get him out of there before he embeds himself. A bit like what's happened with Rachel, with Matt, when she won it. All that stuff come out about the party she went to and that. And that's why Chris Harrison got fucked off, because he knew that she'd won it and was trying to defend her, because he was thinking, shit, she's the winner. We're fucked here, because all this stuff's come out. They'd never obviously done the due diligence on her of what she'd got up to in the past on social media.
Or maybe they had, and maybe they threw her in.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, maybe they have, but I do like the fact though, Dave. So when this happens, she goes to see the guys, and about the rose, and she's like, Cody goes, I just need 5 minutes, guys, and she goes off, and she goes out, and she's emotional, heads down, pans to Hunter. I just want what's best for her. I don't want her being upset, and I just thought, you blagging fucker. But Katie goes off. Dave, remember we talked about Tasia when she met her dad? The old classic, the door opens to her dad, and then the camera's behind her. Katie's just randomly on the balcony with a camera right in front of her as Andrew comes out looking for her. And I'm just like, oh, what is this? This is so fucking fake. It was like, and she didn't even have the same outfit on that she walked out with, I don't think, Dave. And she's like, oh, I'm so glad that you've come out to see me, Andrew. And I'm like, right, okay, mate. But Andrew played the perfect game there, Dave, because he got the rose. Very clear. He's a good guy, Andrew, anyway. He does seem like a good guy. But that whole segment was just too fucking Cinderella for me. It was fucking bollocks.
It was, but like you say, he had some good chat there, Andrew.
Yes,
you were bonding
good guy.
over, growing up with no money, but still being in a loving family, and the parents doing everything to make sure that, you had a good upbringing. So yeah, again, I can see Andrew S. kind of going far in this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Chris, we get onto the cocktail party, don't we? So we get to... Katie's got a lovely kind of emerald type green dress on there, and she tells the group, I mean, we didn't, I don't know if you said, but she obviously sent Cody home. I mean, what I liked about that, again, she basically walks him to the front of the hotel.
I know, and then says she got...
And then, breaks it to him, and he's like, oh, I can't believe it, kind of thing. And it's like, look, you're at the fucking front of the hotel, mate. I'm sure in your eye line, you could probably even see the car waiting for you there.
Fucking chauffeur's got the door open with a sign like at the airport, Cody.
So yeah, I mean, but,
I'm so shocked by that.
It's a shocker. Katie tells the group, she had to send Cody home. And then this is where it gets interesting. This is
brilliant.
Where I've started to change my perception on Karl a little bit, to just from being annoying to the master shit stirrer. So, he's talking to the lads and he's saying, no, you guys are all on the level. You're great, you are. But maybe some people here aren't here for the right reasons. And I fucking love this, Chris. You're all not there for the right reasons, are you? But we'll play this little game where you'll pretend that some of you are. And it's the fact that he gets in there with the lads, and then he sort of gives it to Katie that maybe people aren't there for the right reasons as well. Can't come up with any specifics at all. You just throw this little grenade out there, and you're just going to leave it.
But Dave, this is what I'm saying about Katie earlier. She takes Karl, who from the minute she's met him, she can see that she's not into him. She turned her cheek to him. He's the only one who's not had a kiss off her. But she takes what he says as fucking gospel, that there's people in here who are not genuine. And she's like, well, who are they? I don't want to say. I really don't. And I'm thinking, this is like the worst fucking defense of anybody if they were in court. It's like, have you got any evidence to back this up, please, to help your client get off? Not really. I just know he didn't do it. It was like, it was just all circumstantial. Anybody in court, a judge would have fucking thrown him out and fucking disbarred him or something, because it was all bullshit. But he did the trick, and she come in and just tore strips off all the guys, didn't she? She was crying. Seemed a little bit too fucking daytime fucking soap opera. I think it's Days of Our Lives in the UK, but
it's just from the playbook, though, isn't it? They're all not there for the right reasons. None of them. She knows
exactly.
This. She's a massive fan of the show, and she says like it's one of my greatest fears. I've said it many times, Chris. One of my greatest fears is great white sharks. You know how I tackle that fear? is by not jumping in a tank filled with great white sharks. That's how I handle it. If you don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of blokes who are fame-hungry social media whores, don't go on The fucking Bachelor.
Oh, it's fucking... This, and you know what, Dave? I think you're right, actually. This guy is brilliant because he's just absolutely took the pin off. And like you say, the grenade's gone in there. She's gone mental. She picks Aaron out, which I think's weird because I'm thinking, well, does she trust Aaron because of the Cody situation? She's sort of having a go at Aaron as if she doesn't believe that what Karl said is him. And then Aaron obviously comes in and is like, all the guys are having a go at Karl then, aren't they? They're just like, I think Trey's like, what?
He just owns it though. He's like, when Aaron comes in, and you know, Karl had already said to the guys, I actually thought when the guys were first discussing it, like, what's happened? Who said something? You know, I actually thought he's just going to fucking say nothing at all and just stand there smoking.
Yeah, I did.
But when he says to the blokes, and then when Aaron comes in, you know, he puts his hand up. You know, he's like, hey, that's on me. It's brilliant. So, yeah, I think Aaron is giving a genuine reaction of, what the fuck?
You know what?
Why would you do that?
And this isn't to sort of cross-promote, but you know what it reminded me of? Our Back to the Office podcast. So in one of the Office UK episodes with David Brent, Ricky Gervais, he hires... he has to fire people, doesn't he? And he make people redundant. And he talks about the people who are in the warehouse who he's made redundant. And I was almost waiting for Karl to say, well, who are you talking about? And he'll go, Fred, Barney, Wilma. You know, who the fuck are these? Well, they're the ones who I don't think are being genuine. You know, like just fucking random names that are not even there. You know, like one of them, Dave, to try and get himself out of it. It was so comedy. It was just like a fucking sitcom for me. It was just brilliant. And I agree. I even come to him at the end of ET and he's just like, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks. And it's like, Katie's not going to pick you, mate, at all. I just never understand the motives of people when they're like that because they must look in the mirror and go, I am the man. And it's like, no, mate, I keep saying it, but Tony Robbins is the best motivational speaker in the world, Dave. If he listens to his stuff, Tony Robbins would fucking get rid of him, I think, if he was following his rules. Terrible guy.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's all just very much like the Bachelorette and Bachelor script, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to have a bit of a blow up about people not being there for the right reasons. You know, you've got to have some tears, haven't you? It's all just it's scene by scene, isn't it? It's all just the same.
Yeah. It is the same stuff that, and like we said last week, you could do a deep fake on the cast and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference and just superimpose different people. But I think this leads on to, though, Dave, so obviously we've hit the end of the episode. We're going into episode 3. We've had 3 amazing emails in the last week.
Fantastic.
So we had some brilliant. So first one's from our good friend Lorraine O'Connell. She's over there on our Facebook page. Get over there, guys, to Chris and Dave's reality TV cast, which is run by our good friend Charlene. And she says... She put, I love Jaded. And she put, dear Chris and Dave, I love Jaded. Jaded is what you both do so well. I'm jaded too. I laugh along out loud at your observations. I watch each episode avidly, trying to predict which contestant you're going to rip the shit out of and delight in it, as I usually am of the same opinion. Your podcast wouldn't be the same without Jaded and fuck off outbursts. This is who you are and we love you for it. Don't ever change, except Chris's knowledge in shoes, Christian Louboutin or Jimmy Choo. Lorraine, we're going to fall out. By the way, roll on Love Island. It's my favourite too, especially with your podcast to follow it up. Love your work, Lorraine from Oz. So thanks, Lorraine. Brilliant email, Dave. Accept the shoe bit, but I'll accept the criticism.
I love the shoe bit. Carry it. Keep it coming. You were so confident, that you knew all these intricacies, the different types of shoes. Oh, yeah, it's got red soles on, so it's Jimmy Choo's. Love it. And second up, Chris?
So we've got Sandra, Dave. This is a great one. So she's just put, taking the piss out of Bachelorette franchise. Just a bit of a long one. It's a cracker as well. She's put, dear Chris and Dave, I listen to quite a few podcasts and do not write in to chat with the hosts. I had to make an exception for you. I like people who can laugh at themselves and people who laugh at their own jokes. Even better, that's probably me, Dave.
Someone has to, don't they?
Someone's got to laugh at the dad jokes. I found your podcast when I deep dive into old scenes of Love Island at the beginning of the pandemic shutdown. I didn't have anyone to share the many what the fuck moments with, so I listened to your take while I was organising, tossing out a ridiculous amount of stuff in my house. Applause all round for your hilarious, irrelevant, smart and talk. You took the edge off my thoughts during a confusing, somewhat scary time, and I am grateful. It turns out that I'm a big fan of what you call taking the piss out of, well, everything. Oh, that's nice, that, Dave. That's really nice. The last episode may be my favourite. You mentioned how annoying our American attempts at English accents are to listen to because we consistently miss the subtleties. Here's a tip. All English accents sound posh to most Americans. You need to use that to your advantage next time you're in Vegas. That's a good tip. The minimum reward will be a round of free cocktails. Work it, seriously. Dave, you know I'm going to do that if I get to Vegas this year. I also want to thank you for the...
I'm going to have to test that theory, to be honest. I've been to Vegas a few times and never had that.
No, I think we may need to go together, Dave, for research purposes, just as a long weekend, just see if that works for us. But anyway, I also want to thank you for the introduction to the song that you quietly slid into the end of your show, Too Many Dicks on the Dance Floor. Iconic perfection. The pairing of that song with your astute Hold No Prisoners coverage of The Bachelorette made my day. Keep up the good work, and please, oh please, do not abandon The Bachelorette. Other podcasts either sound like they were hired by a franchise PR firm or they go too far with the mean girl comments. You two only take hits when necessary, and let's be clear, they are necessary. Thanks again, a fan from Georgia. GA, by the way, and she put in brackets, you got it right when we were doing that. And she put, P.S. this is the best bit, P.S. out of curiosity, I googled bell end, handy but wow.
I don't even know what came up there.
No, I don't. So, Dave...
That's fantastic, That's fantastic.
Oh, Dave, you're reading this one, Dave. No, I'll let you read this one. This is a long one. With it.
I've just fucking stuck my head out the parapet there, haven't I?
Oh, no, you articulate yourself so much better than me, Dave.
No.
Go ahead.
Right, this is from our good friend Dee, and it says, hey guys, just wanted to touch base with my thoughts on the Bachelorette premiere and maybe share some thoughts on your thoughts. One thing you guys mentioned is how formulaic the show is. Basically, the same show, season to season, but with different people. I should have read this before we recorded tonight, Chris. This is true, and while that might seem like a downside, it actually has some advantages. In a way, you can anticipate what is coming, and see how the lead reacts to it, and judge it from there. For example, Katie will have to navigate this series of guys and figure out who is someone worth getting to know, who is full of crap, and who is being manipulated by producers and how. There will be the Bachelor standard type of dates, which often includes some type of fighting, some type of nudity, some type of talent competition. But even though these things are repeated season to season, each lead and cast navigate them differently, and it's fun to see who will surprise you and how. You also mentioned how fake it seemed when Katie hugged Tayshia and Caitlin, like they were best friends, and how could that be? Well, Bachelor people connect with each other over social media, and even if they haven't met in person and don't really know each other, there is a feeling of closeness just because of the shared experience. Also, can I just say, I really enjoyed having Caitlin and Tayshia in place of Chris Harrison. They brought a campy, light-hearted energy, and maybe the show will not take itself too seriously. One podcast I listened to that we don't really need the type of solemn host... One podcast I listened to noted that we don't really need the type of solemn host role that Chris filmed anymore, after 20-ish years of the show. And Chris Harrison will be just fine, rolling in a big fucking bale of cash, no doubt. That's not what he wrote, by the way. I'm sure he has plans for the future with his buyout money. There were rumours of him retiring for the past few years anyway, before all this stuff happened this past season. A key part of the fun for me is listening to the many different Bachelor podcasts. It's amazing how people can see the same show and come away with many different conclusions. Reality TV is a window into our culture, whether we like it or not. One thing they keep hitting on is the Christianity versus sex theme, as if those two things can't exist together. Often the show will try to paint things as black and white, but we amateur analysts can hash through the shades of grey. By the way, some of these other podcasts seem to think that Andrew S.'s British accent was pretty good. So it goes to show goes to show you the limits of the American ear. Now, mind you, no one said that Katie's British accent was good, so we aren't completely clueless over here.
That's true.
Looking forward to more recaps and thoughts from you. There will be drama, and that's from Dee Dee in Arizona. So thanks very much for that, Dee Dee. Loads of great points in there, Chris.
Oh, brilliant. Come on, guys, get some more emails. I love reading them out, Dave. I love it. And thank you to Lorraine, Sandra and Dee Dee. So nice of you to take the time to email us. You know, all it is just me and Dave just taking the piss. That's it, innit, Dave? There's no malice in it. We just love watching it. And it's the fact that I'm actually getting drawn into this, Dave. This episode with Karl is drawing me in. He's becoming the pantomime villain. I didn't think I'd say that because we were like that last week. I go, for fuck's sake. But he's just added a bit of spice. And by the looks of it, we're at least going to get another episode out of the guy from the VT.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the thing is, Chris, we know this is all set up. We know it's all staged. Probably a bit like our podcast. You know, we know that we're going to talk about The Bachelor. You know, we'll make our separate notes and we'll come and talk about it. But beyond that, it's no more rehearsed than that, is it? And so even though they've got the same playbook, The Bachelor, I can see Dee Dee's point that, you know, it's interesting to see in the same situations how different people react.
Yeah, and she's right. And it's how your perception of people, and sometimes, Dave, it's where you're from as well in the world. So I like it. I like that. Different views, whether we're right or whatever, it's just great to have a conversation. That's what we're here for, aren't we? We're just chatting about a show at the end of the day. So, no, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. And Dave, I will say, big thanks to our Patreons as well. So we've got the wonderful Lauren again, who's been messaging you and sending in some of her thoughts and some of the insider stuff. She's always great for the knowledge on The Bachelor, Dave and Bachelorette. We've got Kent Gustafsson and we've got Lucky Lulu Green as well. So thank you guys to our three great Patreons. And if you do want to support us, patreon.com/CD RealityCast. And if you do want to follow us on social media, at CD RealityCast, and please get over to Facebook if you can and get involved in the chat. We got some great conversations over there, Dave. Great views. I saw Charlene today like, oh, I'm so over the mud wrestling. So I was just like, yep, she's not wrong. So get over there, guys. And if you want to email us like the three ladies have today, it's the cdrealitycast@gmail.com. So brilliant stuff, mate.
Now, Chris, we are 1 week closer to Love Island starting again.
Dave, just 1 second though. I can't believe what's going on here. Love Island starting around the 28th, 29th of June in the UK, the UK version. I've only seen that Too Hot to Handle starts on fucking Netflix next week. Are we actually just going to give up our jobs forever, Dave? And just like, I'm going to divorce by the end of this, I think. This shows are just ridiculous coming out of our... So that's another cracking show. So yeah, but Love Island takes precedence overall because that is my favourite by a mile. I love it.
June and July, you know, is going to kill us off, I'm sure. But I think I'm with you, you know. Of all the different shows that we've done, the fact that you've got, you know, roughly equal number of boys and girls, and, you know, with the Bachelorette, as the song last week suggests, you know, too many dicks on the dance floor, it's not going to put those blokes in a difficult situation, like where, say they have a connection with Katie and another girl comes in. And you're like, oh, you know, at 1 minute he was like all about Katie, but then the next minute he's all about someone else.
Yeah.
That's what you get with Love Island, isn't it? You think someone's all in with one relationship and then it just... Those are real grenades that come in, aren't they?
Oh, brilliant.
Bombshells, you know, sometimes, you know, and it just completely all kicks off and the drama is just different level. Not this fucking shit with like Cody and Aaron... sort of bit of nonsense, and I you know, we obviously do this stuff because we love it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can't wait to Love Island. But anyway, the thing I wanted to get to, Chris. So probably finish speaking about reality TV right now. What we need to get to, because I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, Chris, at how we've done in this last week for our 2021 summer body comp competition. which makes it sound more grand than it actually is. So, how have you done this week?
Well, Dave, I have got down to 16 stone 8. So I've lost 3 pounds. It may have been first thing in the morning after I'd, used the facilities, but I'm taking that as a win. And that was it off for a couple of days, to be fair. I have had a bit of a heavy weekend, but it's actually, I did do quite a lot of cycling and I was doing other stuff as well. I'm always doing yoga every day. So I've really tried to amp it up. And I've gone, I don't know if I've told everyone this on the show, but I'm not vegetarian anymore now, Dave. I've gone back to the meat. So that has actually helped me a lot. After a year of being, I was vegan, then I was back eating meat, then I was vegetarian. So I'm back on the chicken and tuna and everything, Dave. So it is a little bit of a cheat because I know how that formula works for me. So I'm just slowly easing myself into that sort of mundane food stuff this week. But yeah, it's going well, mate. Really, really well. I'm dead pleased with that. So I think I've dropped now. So I've dropped, because I was a bit disappointed last week. So I've dropped about 5 pounds, I think, so far.
You have, so I've just updated it now. So 16 stone 8, so that's £232. So that's £5 down from when we started, and that's 31% of your target.
Good work. What about yourself, my friend?
It's not bad. That is not bad. Well, last week I was saying that I'm going to have that 0.4 of a pound, and I'm sort of regretting that. So the problem is, Chris, the European Championships, so football or soccer tournament has started. If you're listening from the US, and I sort of hit the beers a little bit over this weekend watching the football. So I thought I was on for a record week, but in the end I've sort of leveled out a bit. So I was £189. Which is actually 0.4 that I was fighting for last week, up from last week. So, but it's kind of level. So I'm 29% of my target.
Yeah,
so a little bit down.
No, don't be daft. Don't be daft. We're getting there, Dave. It's all about doing it together. So we'll keep you guys informed. I'm hoping for a good weekend because I've got no parties planned or anything. So I'm hoping to be pretty consistent till next week, Dave. I want to get under that 16 stone. Weight, definitely. My target's 15, so what have I got? I've got another 19 pounds to lose to get to my target. So I've got to do it.
Well, I've got to say, Chris, it is boiling at the minute, isn't it? So,
yep.
That's got to be better, surely, for losing a few pounds here and there.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt, Dave. I'm in my actual vest and everything at the moment. So yeah, it is
string vest.
Yeah, well, for a change, yeah. I'm not. It's actually warm in the UK, which we never have. So no, it's going well. It's going well, Mr. Horrocks.
Well done, mate. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, sir, and I'll speak to you next time.
Take care, everyone. Bye.